Well, hey y'all, today I'm going to do something a bit different than I guess anything I've done before here on my channel, and that is to make doggy treats. Of course, I do have two dogs here at my house, but also I found out in the recent past that they do actually take homemade doggy treats at the local shelter. I figured I could donate a good portion of what I'm gonna make today to that shelter, and I wanted to take advantage of the fact that it's the last little bit before we start the homeschool year. I've got a teeny little bit of extra time, so we're gonna get on this. Of course, this recipe is gonna have a lot of doggy treats that are going to come out of it. So if you want a half the recipe, I will try to remember to tell you what, of course, is about the half of all of the ingredients. Right here, I've got, this is about 2.5 mashed medium to large size bananas. Of course, you could do just one. It's not a big deal. This is, I believe that when I did this the last time that it was about the exact same amount. It ended up having, it made over 130, I think, doggy treats, which of course they were small, but still 130 is a lot. Then I have a can of pumpkin puree, obviously. If you only want to use half of it, use 1 cup, because it's just under 2 cups. Next, I'm going to add a half a cup of peanut butter, which of course, any peanut butter, you can use any kind of the natural peanut butters, regular peanut butter. The only thing that I have read online is that you need to make sure that it does not have stevia, or I believe it's called erythritol, because that is toxic for dogs. So if you have a sugar-free or no sugar added, make sure that it does not have any stevia type sweeteners. Otherwise, I've also used the ones that are just peanuts or peanuts and salt. That's fine. Just make sure that it's got no stevia or erythritol in there. And actually, I don't know if it's gonna, there we go. I sprayed this cup with some of that, like non-stick spray, and look at how easy it came out. That's another tip. Next is 1 egg. And since I have that peanut butter in there, I want to make sure that I don't have too much fat in there, but it probably will need a teeny little bit more moisture. I know it's probably going to sound crazy like that, but I'm going to add about 1/2 cup, maybe I might add less than that, maybe 1/4 cup of egg whites, just to add a little bit of protein. You want it to be low in salt and low in the fat category, but you don't want it to be, you want it to be high flavor. There's 1/4 cup of egg whites. If at any point you need a little bit more wetness to it, you can always add a little bit more egg whites towards the end. Now we are getting close to the end of ingredients, although we're not completely done. I got 2 cups of oats. And last but not least, I am going to be adding 3 cups of whole wheat flour. I will see how the thickness looks once I get the 3 cups in there. If it needs a little bit more, I'll add a little bit more. But obviously, if you don't want that much, if you're halving it, start with 1.5 cups. Or if you don't have whole wheat flour, for whatever reason, you can use white flour. I've read that both are equally fine to use, although whole wheat flour is supposed to be a teeny bit healthier. But you do what you can or are willing to do, or whatever your budget is willing to do. Alright, and now we're going to check this out and see how we do. You can see it's plenty full, so it's going to have to be very careful getting it all put together. I'm going to hope that it's not going to make a mess, and if it does, well, at least I know how to clean, right? And unfortunately, that's still a wee bit too wet. I'm going to do 1 more cup of wheat flour. I know that this may sound a little bit crazy, but it still is a little bit wet. But I'm going to take this and put it onto a floured surface. I don't know if you can see in the camera, but this is still extremely wet. It's going to come off on my hands way too easy. So I'm going to go ahead and just dump a whole bunch of flour all over here. Get this off. Let it kind of get back in there a little bit. And then I'm going to start to add a little bit of flour, start to knead it just a teeny little bit. And then as we go, then I can flatten it out. If you have a rolling pin, that's fine. Right now, I don't know for sure where my kids have put my rolling pin. So I'm going to use a cup. You use what you've got. You use what works for you. I don't care about the rest. Everything else is just details. Just about there. We just about got enough flour in there. And I'm just incorporating the flour by kneading it instead of, you know, almost like making bread. But this is doggy treats. I would not recommend necessarily eating this, but I have come to find out that they actually, so long as I have time to do it, then these end up coming out probably a little bit less expensive than some of these doggy treats that have got way too many ingredients that are not natural. So I prefer, if I can, to be able to do stuff at home. I'm going to use this and start to flatten it out. You can obviously decide how thick that you want these cookie things, doggy treats, whatever you're going to call it, doggy cookies. You decide how thick that you want it. That's up to you. It depends on also how thick that you want it, how long that it's going to cook, or how crispy that you want them. You may want them to be somewhat crispier cookies. I'm going to just keep on rolling this out. I'm not going to, this would take way too much space, so I'm going to just use what I've got and start to just cut it like this. I do not have any kind of special cutters. This is actually just a thermos thing, but hey, it works. And that's all that I care about. And of course, since these do not have any kind of baking powder or baking soda in them, they're not going to rise. So you can put them almost literally, I won't say on top of each other, but right next to each other on the baking sheet. Here we've got some on the baking sheet. I can't see if you can see. It's very, very minimal amounts of room in between each of them, okay? You don't have to have a whole lot of room. You don't need it because they're not going to rise and expand and become super huge. So that you don't got to worry about. And I will be back in just a second once these are all cut out. I have my first pan filled. They're going to go into the oven at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes. You can always add a little bit more time if you think that your dogs would like them more crunchy, but you want it to be cooked through because of the eggs, and otherwise about 20 minutes. And there you have it. They are a little bit time consuming, but not too horribly much so. And everything is from scratch, homemade dog treats that you don't got to worry about where your ingredients came from. I love that for my dogs, and I hope that you would enjoy it too. I know my dogs enjoy the flavor, so why not give it a try if you have pets, or if you are interested in being a blessing to a shelter in your area. Absolutely, I know that they would enjoy it. Of course, make sure that they would be accepting homemade treats, but absolutely, I would love for you to try it. And if you like the video, feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully in the very near future I'll have more food videos for you to enjoy and hopefully learn from. You can always hit the bell notification so that you would know when I put up any new videos. The one thing that I do want to definitely mention about these particular doggy treats, because they don't have any preservatives, they do need to be left in either the refrigerator for up to a month or in the freezer for up to 6 months. And that way that they can stay fresh for your dogs, and you can continue to give them those tasty, I care about you, or I love you, you're part of the family, and you matter kind of things. Because of course, dogs don't understand human words, but of course they're going to always understand action. I think that's pretty much it. Y'all have a delicious day. And hopefully with this recipe, so will your dogs.